Welcome back to another hot episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting, a podcast where me, Jason,
and me, Jennifer,
have a few drinks
and talk shit about our kids
while we sweat.
Yes,
because it's hot. Please follow us on Please follow us on Instagram at Guide to Poor Parenting,
and Twitter /Facebook /TikTok at Poor Parent Pod.
Yes.
Yay.
Well, this is the first episode back from the cruise.
Yep.
We will do a whole episode dedicated to the cruise, I'm sure.
Yep.
Might as well. We had a lot of good stories.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yep. Is this where we... Do I have it backwards? Yeah, no. This is where we introduce the guest. So, back by popular demand for all our adoring guests, for all her adoring fans, is my poor mother, Ruth.
Hello.
Hello. You poor thing. Yeah, we were, Jennifer and I got back, and we had recorded 5 episodes before we left for the cruise.
Right, but none of them were guests.
Yeah, we had, Molly was going to be the one, like, right before the cruise, and then we had one episode air on the cruise, and then one after the cruise, and then I was like, we don't have anything else recorded. I really need to get that fixed. So I called, like, everybody, but today is Father's Day, so, yeah, no one's available.
Happy Father's Day, Jason.
Oh, thank you. And Zane, he's in the peanut gallery, so happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day.
So, I was like, Mama.
Please come over.
Please help us.
Talk to us, please.
He thinks I've got more stories, but I'll go.
We'll get them out of her.
We'll dig.
Yeah.
Drink more wine.
Speaking of wine,
what are we drinking, Jennifer?
we are drinking one of my Christmas presents that I believe I got from Luis. It is Uno. It's a Malbec from Argentina, and I really like it. But I'm a Malbec fan, so.
And now that I don't have that nasty Costco wine advent, whatever. So for all our 12 listeners, Jennifer
Hi,
and I,
Benjamin.
Hi, Benjamin. Jennifer and I are recording cocktail reviews as part of the, we release them. We review the wines we drink on the podcast and do TikToks and YouTube shorts. And then, in addition, we're trying to get through the wine advent calendar that you and Kyle gave us one, or you gave us one last year. But, like, it was very few of the wines were good. For some reason, they were just all, like, I think maybe they may have gotten frozen or something because they just tasted like most of them were just not good. I mean, I appreciate the gift, I really do, but it was funny because Zane's dad and stepmom gave us one last year, and I was like, how are we gonna get through this? We struggled to get through the one you gave us, so I was like, Jennifer, let's just muscle through and we'll do wine reviews. And so we were, right as my mom showed up, we were reviewing it was like an Italian red blend.
No, we had already done that one. We were doing the one we're drinking now.
Yeah. But we were reviewing the Italian red blend before my mom showed up, and it was super sweet and just like grape juice, not a lot of flavor. And I was just like, we were trying to suck it down. And then when we did the review on the Uno Malbec that we're drinking now, it was all I could taste was that super sweet grape juice in my mouth. So I'm like, well, I hope it's good. I can't tell the difference now.
Well, I think it's good.
Yeah. No, I like it too. So, for our 12 listeners, Zay and I always have a dirty Santa party for Christmas. Was this your dirty Santa gift, Jennifer, or was this your...
I think it was my Christmas present.
Your Christmas, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your Christmas present.
I got your present for the dirty Santa, which was one of the... the
Cooper and Thief.
Cooper and Thief, yeah. So.
Yep.
And I think we probably drank one of those on the podcast, too.
Yep. We drink a lot of wine.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll talk about that on the next episode, but Jennifer got the liquor package on the cruise, and we were...
Premium.
Yeah. We recorded about 5 videos reviewing cocktails we had. So we exercised her...
Yeah, and then we brought bottles, too, of wine onto the ship. So we reviewed 2 different bottles that we had drank.
Yeah, 2 bottles that we brought, or you brought, 2 glasses of wine we got on the cruise, and then like 4 cocktails, I think it was, or something like that. I don't know.
So
We did a lot.
You did that on the cruise?
We recorded them, but we haven't published them yet. They're not out. I'll dribble them out over the next few weeks.
Yeah, we went because we all had balconies, and we went and we're out on the balcony, so we had the water behind us, which was really nice.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the videos though, and we are very washed out.
Well, of course, we're white.
Well, I just mean like we are incredible. Like the video is very blue.
Ah, gotcha.
Like the entire thing is blue, but it's whatever because we were in the shade, and who cares? We were having fun.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, like frankly, the whole reason I wanted to do these TikTok and YouTube things is just to help kind of promote the podcast to get people to listen, and I figured they could see our faces and
And what was cool is we did one with Benjamin because he's like our number one listener because he listens to every episode. Poor Benjamin. We've taught him not to get any kids because he knows all the trouble that we have. And then we did one with Zane as well. So that was kind of cool to be able to kind of show them off because we say, their names a lot. Yeah.
Does that mean if you go to videos on this, am I going to have to do another one?
Only as per all, it's all up to you. We're not going to force anything. It would be appreciated. Jennifer does not want to go to a video format.
And he'll force me to do it.
She is barely hanging on with these TikTok videos, but she's a doll and a treat.
I don't like it, but I do it for my best friend.
Very cool. I will say the biggest thing that stops us from going to video format is the cost, because we can record on our phones, but the lighting is not good, and we have to use the phone's microphone, and it always I bought some lapel microphones for the TikToks we're doing, and they help, but they don't have the best audio quality. And the mics we're currently recording right now, they're the best, but I'd have to get if we did a guest, I'd have to have 4 different cameras.
Oh.
Because I'd have to have one on me, one on Jennifer, one on the guest, and then one overall shot, so we could edit between them. And it's just I struggle to get the editing done on the just the audio portion.
Right.
So I'm just ugh, and it's not even making money yet. So I'm just well, it'll be a while.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. if we ever get advertisers or sponsors, we might go that direction. But it's just the expense, and I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
It's I'm a busy dad.
Yep. And Grandpa.
And Grandpa.
Yep.
Well, Mother, how's your summer going so far?
Pretty slow.
How's the life of an 81-year-old woman?
I spend a lot of time watching TV and reading books.
There you go.
Sounds like the life.
How's I know you Mom's been dealing with bum back for years now, so I think you've been struggling with that lately, haven't you?
Yeah. I just got an epidural in my back a couple of weeks ago, and it really hasn't helped a whole lot.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But the knee surgery I had was really good.
Yeah.
Good.
I knew you right after you got it, you regretted getting it, but then I knew if you just kind of could get through your physical therapy, you'd feel better.
I was even looking at the scar today, and I had a childhood scar on my knee that we were so poor. Mother never took us to the doctor for things like that.
Do you want to tell that story about your knee scar? Because I know that's a good story.
I don't know that story.
Oh yeah, tell your story.
Do you mind?
If you don't want to, you
the
don't
one
have
I've got the knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking about the one on the leg where Glenda.
Oh, I thought the knee one was the axe one.
Shit, an axe? Okay.
It's the one on your leg is the
The
axe?
one on my leg is what he's talking about.
Oh,
and that
okay. Well, tell
happened
that story.
when I was less than 10, maybe 8. Glenda, my sister, was washing the dishes, and I was supposed to be in there drying them and putting them up. I said, well, I can't find a cloth. And she grabbed hold of my shirt and marched me into the closet and threw me down on a stack of clothes. There was an axe in the closet. and I hit the corner of the axe.
Oh, goodness.
Yep. Aren't siblings the best?
Oh, wow. Well, I don't think she did it on purpose.
I know.
She didn't know there was an axe in there, I would hope, anyways.
Well, I
You
made
knew where
her
the-
think she did.
Oh.
Believe me.
Yeah. You never forgot where those cloths were, did you? Okay.
But you know, I don't remember it bleeding, and mother.
Really?
I mean, just I guess just right in the fat.
Because it's like a 3-inch long scar, if I remember correctly, isn't it? No. Okay.
One on my knee is. But,
Oh, maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
You
So
just-
where'd the knee one come from?
oh, that was me.
Was that Nelda pushing you down a well or something?
No, that was all my fault.
Yes.
I was even younger. Playing on an old rusted out car that was in the field where I think it was close to where we lived. It wasn't in our yard, but fairly close to where we lived.
No, Mom grew up, just for our listeners, Mom grew up in East Texas, like Houston later on in her childhood, but beginning was like
We moved to Houston when I
Nacogdoches
was
area.
10.
Yeah.
But I was just playing on a rusted car. And I slid down, and it was hit my knee.
We all have pretty good, like you've seen my ankle scar, haven't you, Jennifer?
Yes.
Yeah. So we were in Houston still at the time, and I must have been 2 or 3.
I think 2.
Yeah. And I was apparently a climber. I would climb out of my crib all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember it because I was too young, but we had it was a book, if I remember correctly, it was a book, we still had it in Austin, but it was a bookshelf that was on top of like a chest of drawers. So it was like 3-foot tall chest of drawers and then a bookshelf on top of that. But the bookshelf really wasn't attached to the chest of drawers, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I was like, Mom and Dad had put my Halloween pumpkin for trick-or-treating up there, and I wanted it. So I climbed up there to get it and pulled the thing down on top of me, and it fell and hit me right in the fold of my front of my ankle. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I don't remember it, but I have
You don't remember that?
not really. I mean, I have some like vague memories, but I don't.
I mean, if you're 2.
Yeah, I barely remember it. I know I have probably like a 4-inch scar on my ankle. I mean, it looks like my foot should have come off because it's so big.
But I was at work. You were at home with a babysitter.
Probably freaked that poor babysitter
Oh my
out.
God. Was that?
Oh, I
was
wasn't
that-
happy about it.
Yeah, definitely.
They just called me and said, "Meet us at the hospital."
God. Was it Miss? It wasn't. Who was the babysitter? Was it the neighbor that made our stockings?
It was. So you must have been a little over that too.
I mean, we moved when I was 3, I think, didn't we? To
4.
Austin. 4. Oh, so 4. God.
Well, you started
our-
kindergarten the next year.
You start kindergarten at 6, though, don't you? 5? Oh, okay. No, I don't know.
Or maybe you started preschool.
I don't know.
I don't
It's like
remember.
3 people with the worst memories trying to relive.
I wasn't there, so
Yeah.
don't put me in this. Yes, I have a bad memory, but
That's-
I wouldn't remember this.
That's the problem with having me on your podcast. My memory.
Don't ask her questions about memories.
But I do. So, like, my brother and I have stockings that are over 40 years old at this point, and our neighbor and I guess babysitter made them for us, didn't she? Was Miss Clardy?
That was Miss Clardy.
Miss Clardy. That and I don't remember that. I just know y'all have talked about it enough that I can remember it, but I don't know.
She was the best babysitter you ever had. She was really good.
Now, she was not the babysitter that took me to the beach without sunscreen, was
No.
she? Because
That was the same one about the bookcase
Jesus
falling on
Christ, she
you.
was trying to kill me. Because for our listening audience who's never seen me, I am a 6'4" redhead who is paper white skin, and if you like turn on a bright light, I will get sunburned.
Yep.
And I was 3, I guess, and this god awful babysitter that was trying to murder me took us to the beach and didn't put sunscreen on me, and I came home covered in blisters, if I remember correctly.
You were badly burned. Again, I don't know why we let her babysit you.
She was affordable.
And I'm not sure
She
which
was your
happened
only
first.
option.
Hey, Mom, would you pull the microphone just a little closer to your face?
Oh, you can't hear me?
No, I just want to make sure we're, like, you're good. But, yeah, I'm just trying to remember other stories from my early childhood. I do remember, there was one other one from, so growing up, my mom and dad had bought property at a newly formed lake in Texas called Lake Livingston, and they built a house up there with my mom's sister, and I vaguely remember riding a skateboard off something. What was that? Do you remember that story?
Well, the house, we had just poured the foundation the week before, and it's on a hill that,
Leading down into the water.
Yeah, leading down to the water. So the drop off from the lake side of the foundation was pretty, probably at least 5 feet, maybe
I
a
would say
little
probably
more.
6 or 7. Yeah.
And he was playing around with his skateboard and I scooted right off of it. So he was accident prone, but I guess that was my fault for not watching it closer.
I blame him. Just blame him.
Yeah. I was about to say, I've broken 8 bones in my life. I don't think it's just you.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
just
not. You jumping off the balcony onto what you thought was going to be the couch was
God.
not Mama. That was you.
There was a lot of things like that wasn't Mama.
Yeah, no. There was
And
a
I'm
lot
just
of-
finding out some of them.
we were. Go ahead.
When you're old enough to not be too scared of Mama anymore, that's when all the stories come out, isn't it?
When Mama needs help opening pickle jars, you're like, okay, I can tell you the really bad stuff.
Right. Just got to be out of range of anything that she can throw or hit you with.
I think we were. It was not too long ago, like maybe a couple of weeks ago. Like my brother and my mom and I were having lunch or dinner or something. I don't know, but we were talking about. Oh, I think it was over here. Y'all had come over for dinner, I think, and we were talking about like kids being bad, and
So you were talking about my son.
well, yeah, and myself because like I was up until about junior year of high school, I was good. Didn't do much, and Zane was always like a little angel.
Don't you forget it.
Well, he's changed now. He was an angel as a child, but as an adult.
I've more than made up for it.
But at any rate, I found out how they got out of the house at night without us knowing it.
Oh yeah.
Got the car out of the garage.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kyle's like 4 years older than me, and I didn't even know he did it. But so in our house in Austin, mom and dad's bedroom was probably like it was facing the garage door, and there was a hallway if your back was to mom and dad's room, there was a hallway to the left. You didn't lead into a bathroom.
The washroom and the bathroom
Yeah.
were there too.
But if you walked out of mom and dad's bedroom, the garage door was like right in front of them, and so we didn't want to wake them up, and we were late in high school, and so.
And why didn't you want to wake them up?
Because I wanted to steal the car. I don't know. Like Kyle did the same thing, so I can't be the worst. But so for me, I only did it like 2 or 3 times, but I would go to the garage, go into the garage, close the door, and then I would pull the emergency thing on the garage door, and I could lift it by hand, and then I would turn the car. I would put the car into neutral and let it kind of roll back. Put it in park, go back, close the garage door, and drive off. And poor mom's like, "What? You did what?" So, sorry, Mom.
And Kyle didn't bother doing it manually. He used the garage door opener.
Did he really?
Well, mom and dad had bad sleep apnea, and mom still does. And they were untreated. And I don't think CPAP machines were a thing back in the 90s. And her and my dad would saw logs like nobody's business.
So they wouldn't hear nothing.
They wouldn't have heard anything.
Gotcha.
So,
That's funny.
sorry, Mom.
And all I had to do was ask my mom, "Hey, Mom, can I borrow the keys? I want to go tonight."
I mean, I probably could. Like, I was a good enough kid. I think Mom and Dad. I mean, they may have objected me going out late at night, but I don't know. I was a good kid. They wouldn't have minded.
Oh, okay. That's why you're stealing cars. Good kid.
Well, up until that point.
Oh, okay.
Up until she realized what a rotten child I was.
Oh, after all the broken bones, you were such a good kid.
No, my broken bones were from my stupidity, not
Yeah,
from
that's
my
true.
ill behavior.
That's true.
You were a good kid
A bad teenager.
until all this happened.
Yeah. And bless you for putting up with this. What I know, so part of before you arrived, or right after you arrived, Jennifer and you and I were talking, trying to figure out what we were going to talk about, and Jennifer's kind of going through this now with those early teen years, like 13, 14, and how god awful they were. What was I know Kyle. I wasn't too bad at that time, but Kyle I know gave you a lot of grief.
He would, mostly it was school. Just wouldn't do his homework. His grades fell off really bad. So we were constantly fighting about that. And well, plus other things, like he got on he'd use the phone and call those
1-900 numbers.
1-900.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And not by a little bit either. It was like
A
thousands.
couple of $100.
Oh, I thought it was like in the thousands.
It was about 300.
But this was also early 90s money, so that'd probably be like 2,000 of these
I
dollars.
think it was before 9. He was,
Oh yeah, 13. I would have been 8. So yeah, it would have been late 80s.
so maybe
Yeah, that's
$300 or
a lot of
$400 in the 80s was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So he got in trouble with that. And, it was... I think most of our fights, though, were about schoolwork.
Like
And
trying
me-
to get him to do
me
it,
having-
or
Just getting him to do it.
Yeah.
And his homework. And he didn't... I think, of course, he has ADD, and we didn't know it.
Had they come out with that
Just
diagnosis
really
yet?
made a...
Had they come out with the ADD diagnosis yet?
No.
No. Do we? I don't even know.
Well, maybe they did, but...
Yeah,
We did take him to a psychologist, and he said, no, there's nothing wrong with him. He's a rebellious teenager. So
yeah.
he didn't really get in trouble at school except for not doing his work.
Gotcha.
They never called us, come get your kid or anything like that.
I gotcha. So just get him to do his homework, which was
Yeah.
the hard part, and then him
Or really
doing.
get him to do anything.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the
anything
way
he
that
did-
it is now?
Yeah, if he's not interested in doing it, he just cannot do it. Really,
Yeah.
he has to be interested in doing it. And but I would say if he were 13 now, he would probably have what's called an IEP and what they call special education now, like what Wesley has and what
Well,
Justin
special ed back in the day,
Yeah.
they don't
He
call it
would've-
that no more.
He would have been on medication
Yeah.
had.
early.
Yeah,
He would have been diagnosed. He would have been medicated, and it probably would have helped you out a whole lot.
yeah. And they would have had better medication because I know one.
And finally, when he was diagnosed, and he went on medication for a little while, but he hated coming off of it so much that he quit taking it. But
Yeah.
he was already in boarding school at that point,
I remember
or was he? Yeah, I think he was.
he wasn't because he was like
It was like
a
14 or
junior.
15.
I mean, he was a sophomore when he went to. When did he go? So, mom and dad raised it for our listening audience. Mom and dad raised us in Austin, and he was 14 or 15, so like freshman, sophomore in high school, and he was basically failing everything, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And so you thought, well, a lot of it was, well, you decided it might be a good idea if he had more focused
discipline.
Discipline.
We just thought that discipline was doing good at the. It was a boarding school close to us, about
45 minutes away, probably.
45 minutes away.
Yeah, in San Marcos, Texas.
Okay.
That was military.
Ah,
And so we really thought that the discipline would be good for them.
right.
But-
Because change is really hard
Yeah.
for ADD or ADHD kids.
Oh, yeah. Was it... So Jennifer is feeling is kind of playing around with the idea for Wesley at the moment.
Well, no, I can't afford it.
Yeah. She would
I
like
don't
to.
know how much it was for you, but they're saying it's $4,000 to $5,000 a month for him to go to a therapeutic boarding school. But I also not doing military school. But the military school I found in Alabama was like $70,000 a year,
Yeah.
so it's about the same.
Yeah, it was expensive. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
remember how much, but
Yeah, we looked it up the other day and like did the not interest rate, but the inflation rate, and it was about probably about $40,000 a year what they were paying. But
where he went,
it
wasn't that much.
no, but in today's dollars it would have been.
Oh.
But in 90s dollars it was less. But when you decided to do it, was it like a fight with Kyle? Did you have to drag him there? Do you remember? Because I'm vague on this stuff. I don't remember too much about it.
I don't think we had to fight with him too much.
Really?
He didn't know it was a military school till he got there.
Smart, Mama, smart.
Atta girl.
Well, I didn't remember that until he reminded me just the other day. He said he hated it at first, but after a few weeks, he liked it.
The routine and the
Yeah.
help, I'm sure, probably.
Yeah. For ADHD kids, routine is like essential. So
Yeah.
that's why Jennifer is always trying to get Wesley into bed at a specific time.
And then he's like, it's summer and other kids don't have bedtimes. And I'm like, dude, everybody has a fucking bedtime. I have a bedtime. Like, for real. And then he starts naming all these kids. And I'm like, dude, they all have bedtimes. And I'm sorry your mama has to get up at a little after 4 in the morning so she can go to work at 7. But you got to go to bed because I can't trust you. If I could trust him, it would be different. Grr. But yeah, I'm giving him till January when I can get insurance to try to help me pay for this shit.
Yeah.
To try to see if he can do better.
I know Jennifer's been feeling kind of has mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, I'm back and forth.
Kind of guilt and is she doing the right thing? Did you have that kind of problem when you decided to send him?
Yeah, some, because he wanted to be at home, and you hate to send your kid off.
Yeah.
But the reason I went to graduate school down there was so that I could go see him pretty often.
I didn't know that. Because I remember you doing so my mom did her grad school where I did my undergraduate and in the same department. I remember when
Are
I
you going
was
to tell us what it was?
computer science.
Where?
At Southwest Texas State at the time. Now it's Texas State University in San Marcos. But thank you,
Because
Jennifer.
I don't know nothing about Texas.
I apologize. But I was gonna say I do have a funny story about that though. I do remember when I was in college down there and I was having trouble getting into a class and you're like, well, just go to the professors and throw my name around. I'm like, mother. I'm like, Mom.
I would have been like, I am Ruth Mentor's son. Come on now, guys. Give me my class.
It's
They were
I'm
impressed
Jason's
with me.
son of Ruth. Who will
Yes.
give me this class.
That's right.
I got so tickled with that one. My friends from college still talk about it. They're like, ooh, Jason, son of Ruth. I didn't.
Sounds like a biblical thing.
It was.
Well, I was already very experienced
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
went
yeah.
there, and so
No,
I kind of stood out as a student because I was older. And
I know what you meant, but it's just the way you said it it cracked me up at the time. They were just so.
I don't remember saying that.
It just felt like very I'm a big donor to the school. I'm like, you're just some random grad student. Why do they care?
But she's not some random grad student. 'Cause you got to think about it. This is late 80s, early 90s, and a woman's going to computer science, that is a big deal.
Thank you, Jennifer, for bringing that up, because I have brought this up many a time, and my mom just not poo-poos on it, but thinks it's not a big deal.
It is a big deal.
No, not that.
Oh.
My mom, my dear mother, who's 81 years old,
Who is in the room?
used to work at Lockheed Martin on the Apollo missions. And was it the Gemini or the Apollo?
Apollo.
She was, if you've ever, we may have said this on the podcast before.
I'm pretty sure that was part of our conversation when in her episode. But go ahead and repeat it.
But she was about 10 years after the Hidden Figures ladies, if I remember correctly, because they were early 60s and you were early 70s.
Yeah, late 60s.
Yeah, and but if for our listeners, if you've ever seen the movie Apollo 13, there's a scene where Kevin Bacon is at a party and talking about how the capsule detaches, rotates, and then reattaches. And Mother worked on a software, a backup portion of that, but worked on that software. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's the cool. And Dad was part of the training team for Neil Armstrong and the lunar lander. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever seen Last Man on Earth, or it was the Neil Armstrong movie about Neil Armstrong. There was a training accident where they told him to eject because the lander was going to crash. Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, Dad is the one told him to eject.
No.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Both of it.
But I've always thought it was the coolest thing, and Mom's always like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, it was just because we were there, but we weren't. Dad and I weren't.
Well, no, but you were a female programmer in the 70s.
Yes.
And I just think
right.
that is the coolest thing in the world.
Right.
You're right. There weren't too many of us.
Yeah.
So, woohoo, Ruth.
Go, Mama.
Come on.
Okay.
Cheers. You already drank all your wine.
Do you need some more? Oh, excuse me. Do you need more wine, Mom?
We could drive you home. It's fine.
Yeah. That's fine.
Well, you would probably have to.
No, it's really cool that you
It
did.
is good wine.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
And if you want some more, I will drive you home. Or
Yeah.
your son will.
Yeah.
Or your son-in-law.
Yep.
Or your grandson. I mean.
You got lots of options.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We're a house full of drivers.
Was it you the other day who was talking about I'll be a great grandpa the other day?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I was like, because I got him a card for Father's Day that talks about how amazing dad and grandpa he is. And I was like, oh, next year I'm going to have to get you a card that says dad, grandpa, and great grandpa. And he was like, wait, where's the great grandpa come from? And I'm like, Justin's kid. And he's like, that'll still be my grandson. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I'm dumb. I had a ditzy blonde moment.
It's all right.
And I'm not blonde, but yeah, I had a ditzy moment, definitely.
Hey, if you didn't break any bones, so you're doing fine.
Yeah.
So back to Kyle and how difficult. I don't back to early teens, I guess. I don't know where we're going with this conversation. But we're having wine and talking about kids.
Well, Kyle was really smart, and he is smart.
Yeah, no, he has a hard time concentrating on anything he's not interested in.
Right.
But if he's interested in something,
he was reading at 3.
Smart.
Yeah, and he was delight to his kindergarten, 1st and 2nd, and 3rd grade because he could read. He was so far ahead of the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever talk
So
about
they
skipping a
loved
grade?
him.
Yeah.
Until we moved to Austin, he would have been in the 5th grade.
He would have been 7 or 8. So
At any rate, they had open classrooms, which is the absolute worst for a kid with ADD.
Was it open
With
classroom?
so much going on that they can see.
Oh, okay.
So in the elementary school we went to, especially when I got to 5th grade, or when the Challenger explosion happened, I remember I was in an open classroom, but it was literally a giant room, like a warehouse, and to separate the classrooms was
Bookcases and
bookcases.
stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I didn't have a problem with it, but like Kyle obviously did, because it was
Well,
echoey.
distractions and
Yeah,
noises.
echoey
'Cause,
and-
yeah, bookcases do not
Block
stop
the
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wesley would have like a conniption. He'd just
Yeah,
be
and
like
if-
all over the place.
And if you're like sitting in
You
class,
could see people walking down, walking.
oh yeah, like you'd be sitting in class and you'd have like another class walking past you.
Oh wow.
Like you'd be sitting there and like watching teacher, and you'd have like a whole like 30 kids just stomp past you to
Yeah.
get to
Because
their
they wouldn't
classroom.
be they wouldn't be quiet,
Oh
definitely.
hell no!
So
not
yeah,
elementary school kids.
yeah, that would mess me up. Shit.
So that's when he first started having problems.
But what was junior high like for him? Do you remember?
Junior high was hard for both of y'all. It's hard for all kids, I think.
Well, junior high was hard emotionally, just because I was pretty sensitive, but I didn't think
He
it
was.
Shut up.
You are very sensitive.
Well, what was middle school? Was it academic?
It was middle school is where he really started having trouble with grade wise.
Was he
And
never? Was dyslexia a thing back then? He's not dyslexic, is he?
No.
I don't think so. If he's reading at 3.
Well, but you remember Molly, our guest from 2 weeks ago, said her daughter like could zip through. She could read early and did great up until like they hit high school, and then when it got real, like she could read the Harry Potter books super early. So I'm just wondering if maybe he had dyslexia and we didn't know it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've never thought that. And no one. The one time we got him to go to a psychiatrist for testing, they didn't say anything about it.
Okay. Just curious. I don't know. Now, like the support group that Jennifer and I go to, like we'll be like sitting there, and some of the parents are like, "Oh yeah, my 5-year-old, we're trying to get him on ADHD medication." It's a little early, but back in the day when we were kids, you're like 14 years old before it's like, "Oh, you have a major problem with concentration, so you might need help."
I was 41 when I got diagnosed with it. So.
Yeah.
But girls are different than boys with
Yeah.
ADHD. And I was like, you have to take the H out. I am not hyper in any way. And my psychiatrist was like, it's not your movement, it's your brain. You're hyper in your brain. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. I am. Because
Yeah.
I have a hyper mind or whatever.
Yeah. But it was, so junior high, it just kind of fell off the cliff at that point, like
Grade wise.
grade-wise. Was he doing okay, like socially?
Well, he made. No. He had friends, but I don't think they were real close.
Okay. Junior high is a tough, I'm not looking forward to
I
replay.
liked junior high.
Sure.
But he did have friends. I think some of the problems that Kyle has today socially is because he was adored when he was real young. And he seeks that still. I
Because all the
believe.
teachers loved him because he could read and he was smart and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
Well, and two, we adored him.
I will say, nowadays when I interact with Kyle, I think and Kyle, if you're listening, I'm not saying anything I haven't said to you to your face, so like I'm not trying to be mean, but I notice I notice Kyle will ask questions that are like super obvious if you will just sit and think about it for a second. He'll be like, "Why is that plant green?" Or and like, well, if you just think about it like, how did that ladder fall down? I'm like, well, if you just think about it for a hot second, you could probably figure it out. And he'll like he will ask for clarification on things that I'm just like, like things I think I find incredibly obvious.
Right.
And that seems
he doesn't have a lot of common sense.
Well, in some areas he does, but it's like I think a lot of it he just doesn't slow down to ask it. He doesn't do the introspection. A lot of times he doesn't think about it before he'll just pop off a question. Or at least that's how it feels to me a lot of times.
Well, and I think that's the biggest problem in him he's always had in holding a job. Is that he wants somebody to explain it before he does anything. And a lot of stuff you're asked to do is common sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad because Kyle's. I'm 46 now. Kyle's 50. No, is he 49 or 50? He was born in 70.
He's 49.
When was he born? 40 or 73 or 74?
74.
Then he's 50, Mom.
When's his birthday?
January. Because it's 2024.
Well, he says he's 49.
No, he's 50.
Well, I say I'm 24 too, but that doesn't mean that's true.
No,
What
he's not.
Blanche dog years?
How old are you?
I'm 46, and he's 4 years older than I am. I'm born in 77. He'd be born in 70. If he was born in 74, then he'd be 50.
Well, if you're that's 3
In
years.
January.
It's because I'm so late in the
Oh,
year.
that's right. Yeah,
No.
never mind.
He was
whatever.
born just 2 weeks after you were. I mean, his birthday's 2 weeks after yours.
No, I realize. I just meant like I'm so. Even though it's like 3 years technically, it's like I'm so late in the year. It's practically the next year.
Yeah.
That it should be 4 years.
Christmas
No,
baby.
he was born in 74. I know.
Then he's 50 years old.
Well, he's not.
Yes, he was. If he was born in 74, if he was born in 70, unless he was born in 75, then he's 40. He can't be. He wasn't born in 75. Oh, good God. It's like the three old people arguing. Gosh, shit, we can't remember.
I don't know when he was born. I didn't even know his birthday.
Anyway.
Born January 14th, his birthday.
I know his birthday. I just meant the year. God, three old senile people can't remember shit. No, but Kyle's 50, and like, you know, I don't want to like spill his dirty laundry, but he's always kind of struggled holding jobs, and I can't even remember the longest job he's ever held. Can you? Was it Denver?
For Nelda.
Oh, was it Finelda? Yeah.
Dennis.
But again, he's got such bad. One of his bigger problems too is impulse control.
Yeah.
He just, if he wants to do it, kind of like Wesley, he'll just do it, and he'll,
Not think about the consequences.
yeah. It's like, oh, Aunt Nelda, you know, I'm driving for Aunt Nelda to deliver her frames, and she gave me the credit card to pay for gas. I'll just get all this other stuff that I want and think about it. And so,
Yeah, the reason he kept that job so long was he was working for his aunt.
yeah. Nelda was such a sweetheart. She hired like all her nieces and nephews at least. Not her, I don't think her nieces worked with her, but did she have any nieces?
Terry.
Terry, yeah, but yeah. Terry's old.
She was really close to Terry.
I know everybody was really close to Nelda. Everybody loved Nelda, but Terry, like we're talking about my Aunt Nelda, Mom's next eldest sister, and she had a welding shop for her and her husband had a welding shop for years, and they like all the nephews kind of worked for them at some point. I worked them for a while, cutting metal, and Kyle delivered, and I think their sons obviously worked, but well, I think Glenda's sons did too occasionally.
Not all of them. I think maybe Steve did.
Yeah, but
I don't think Roy Jr. did.
yeah. But Nell and Ted gave us all opportunities that we didn't deserve, but we appreciate them. But
I'm sure she knew that, and that's why
Yeah.
she did it.
she was such a sweetheart. She was,
From what stories I've heard, she sounded like I would have liked her.
yeah. I don't think anybody. She was kind of like not the glue, but she was she kind of was the glue of the family because she kind of all gathered us together a lot, and I don't know. I felt that way.
Well, she had it. Most of our Thanksgiving get-togethers, but we did a lot of the Christmas.
Yeah, you
No,
have
we
a Christmas.
we traded off.
Yeah, I know.
You remember the ones at her house because her house had that big backyard,
So,
and everybody would show up because everybody lived close to her.
Yeah.
When they came to the lake, some people didn't come.
yeah. So Nelda, my aunt and Mom's elder sister, and her husband Ted had a house in Texas near Greens Point in northern Houston. I know you don't know of it. What's funny though about Greens Point is that the reason it's called Green. There's a mall, and it's a really sketchy mall. And there was actually just watched a TikTok about it, how it's a dying and scary mall now because it was even like in the last last time I lived in Houston, it used to be called Guns Point.
Oh.
Because there was a police station there because it was just constant gang activity. It was a really scary. It used to be nice, but when they first built the house, but it was very bad by the time I left Houston. So, but they lived. So in Houston, there's all these little canals to channel all the water because Houston just gets so much fucking rain everywhere, and they call them bayous, and they would get their house flooded like every 10 years or so. So we would all come over and like strip sheetrock and put new sheetrock up and help them rebuild the house because the damn house got flooded. But they have this giant yard. I mean, it was like a football field length from their house to the bayou, and you could just walk up to the bayou, and it was deep. And I was always amazed that it flooded because it was. I mean, it was probably like 40 feet deep if I remember correctly. Yeah. So, but. Good times.
Flood the whole neighborhood.
Yeah. Houston's, God bless, floods all the damn time.
But it didn't, when they first bought that house, it didn't flood for years.
Well, yeah.
I think they did something to.
It's all the pavement, I think, because they kept paving all over.
Probably that mall you're talking about.
Yeah, probably.
Blame them all.
Yep.
Well, there was a lot of building around the mall too.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like all that pavement just stopped the permeation of the water, so it just went straight to the bayous.
Yeah.
So, would you ever move back to Houston again? You lived so before you moved here to Huntsville, you lived in the Woodlands, which is kind of like about 30 minutes north of Houston. It's a suburb. But would you ever move back to Houston?
No. Well,
not unless we live there.
If you move there, I might.
I won't.
Since I followed you here.
So the answer's no then, Jason. If you're not going to move, then she's not going to move.
All right, let me a better question. If your family weren't all there, would you ever live there again?
If my family weren't?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Houston is nice, I guess, but it is humid. It is a swamp.
It is huge, and the traffic is
god awful. Yeah. So as we're talking these sentences that are saying these things, our big fat ginger cat, is like just walked from Zane over to my lap, and then walked over to Jennifer, and then is now perched on Mom's lap,
slapping her with his tail.
That's right. This cat is a mess.
And back to Daddy.
And back to Daddy he goes.
So, when they were in middle school, I know they're a few years apart. Don't know exactly how many now. Did you ever think they were psychotic in any way? Because I've heard so many stories where people are thinking, like in middle school years, like we'll just say 12 to 15, that their child had some type of psychosis. Did you ever think that? Just because of all of the puberty and behavior changes and everything that we as all adults go through.
I didn't think they were psychotic.
No? Because sometimes I look at Wes and I'm like, is he a sociopath? Like, does he have feelings? And I also watch a whole bunch of true crime, so that might be why I ask. But I've talked to many people, and they're like, I've questioned it in my head. I never questioned it to like a psychiatrist, but just like a fleeting thought, like, is he going to stand in my room and just stare at me, kind of?
Well, I will say, I think the biggest difference between Kyle and Wesley is Wesley gets explosive.
Oh, yeah.
Like, kind of like my little brother Matthew, but Kyle never did. He will argue with you, and he will wear you down, but he does not blow up at you. Frankly, I probably have a worse temper than Kyle does.
Oh, that's a lot.
But yeah, like Kyle doesn't get explosive that I can remember.
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean,
I think he would if someone really angered him enough.
Oh yeah, and I'd piss Wesley off
because he talks about, getting so mad. He's told me he's been in a fight before, so he obviously. But I don't know what the occasion was.
Yeah, but he's never blown up at you and Dad. He never
No.
Yeah, and he never punched holes in y'all's walls. like Wesley's done with Jennifer.
Well, I'd rather him punch holes than fight somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's done that too, so.
And
But
my little brother.
Kyle didn't fight anybody as a kid. I think he got in a fight at
As
a
an
bar
adult?
or something
Gotcha.
after he grew up.
Gotcha. But I mean, I just talked to people in the support group. Kind of they have like you can, they've said things like that, and then people at work I've talked to, and then it's just that middle school age where you just have a fleeting thought. You're like, So I was just wondering if you ever thought that between him and Kyle. 'Cause I'm just trying to get just because sometimes it's just the things they do is just like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, I can't remember anything like super crazy that Kyle did.
What about you?
Not in
Not middle school?
Not middle school. I did some crazier stuff when I was in high school, but not middle school.
Just with the puberty and then all the emotions, and then middle school for most people sucks.
I think a lot of it too is all adopted kids have some trauma just because it's unavoidable through the adoption process. But I think we're used to the level of trauma that we're more used to with our foster kids is different than a baby adoption.
But they still have trauma. If you,
no, I'm not saying they don't. I'm
support
just saying
it.
that they didn't have 4 or 5 years of parental abuse and neglect.
Yeah, but if you remember, there's some of the parents that have that adopted as a right out of the hospital, and they have.
Yeah.
It just depends on the kid. It's not. I don't know. Necessarily
Kyle,
the time.
Kyle actually met his adoptive mother.
His
birth mother.
Yeah. When did he meet her? It was...
We were in Denver, and they got in touch with him.
So that would have been early 2000s. 2002, 2001. Because I graduated college in 90.
Late 90s.
Oh.
Well, maybe it was right before we moved back to Texas.
Okay. Yeah, it would have been... Because I graduated high school in 96, so it would have been
And we left there in 2001.
2001? That's when I graduated college. Are you sure? Yeah. No, you weren't back in Texas by 2001. It was later.
2000?
It was later than that because I was living in an apartment in Kingswood in 2001.
So it was 2002 that we moved back.
Maybe.
We'll just say 2000.
Yeah, 2000.
Yeah, it was 2002.
Yeah. Because I was working with Nelda for a little while, and then went and did the Disney program, and then came back and lived with y'all.
Yeah.
So.
Did you feel any type of way when he met his bio mom?
No, I mean I was glad that he was going to get to meet him.
Yeah.
And he did after we went back to Texas. He did physically meet him, not just on the phone.
Yeah.
But he has told me that he's glad that she didn't raise him.
Was she kind of? Did she say she was kind of immature? Or
Yeah.
Because she was 15, I think, when she had
Oh
him.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also has a half brother. He really loved his half brother, wanted to be with him.
They had a bit of a falling out, if I remember correctly.
But
I
think the main reason he was glad she didn't raise him was because they lived way out in the country and didn't have much.
Yeah.
And you spoiled him rotten, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because I know this one here, Jason, and he's spoiled rotten.
Spoiled rotten.
He
That's
is. Me. You are. Yeah. Yep.
He had
You're
a
so
much
spoiled
better
you won't
life.
say Mama's name at the college. I mean, come on now.
Son of Ruth.
Jason, son of Ruth. I'm gonna start calling you that if I remember it.
I still can't believe I said that, Jason.
You and I both have said some doozies over the year, Mom.
Yeah, I can believe that definitely.
I had to have been teasing if I said that.
Or drinking, one or the
You
other.
might have been, but I was just so tickled when you said it. I was like, what? I remember when I graduated college, and it was like in the middle of the tech. But so for our younger listeners, in 2001, there was a tech bust, like Pets.com, and like all of Silicon Valley kind of folded, and like there was no one hiring for programmers, and that's where I graduated. It's 2001, so it was like I could not find a job to save my life, and mom and dad, I got tickled again because I remember I was like, they're like, oh, go apply for Lockheed Martin. And I was like, okay. And like, be sure to like throw our name around. I'm like, there's where? It's like online. And there's I can't say, oh, well, by the way, I'm child of Ruth and Tom, gross award winner.
Gross.
There was a major award in Lockheed Martin called the Gross Award, and
okay.
Dad won it. And he had like 4 or 5 patents through Lockheed, and he was a very well respected man. But it's like there was not a section market.
Jason, son of Ruth and Thomas Minter.
So I got tickled at that one.
That's a bad name for an award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gross Award, that just threw me off.
He was a big
Is there an
big
E at the end?
scientist in Lockheed.
Oh. Because it could be German, because it's Grosse, that it's a big award.
It might be. I just remember.
Well, I'm
Dad,
just going to say that because I don't like the Gross Award.
I remember Dad won it one year, and they flew us out to California and we went to Disneyland for the award ceremony.
Well, damn, that is a big award.
It was a nice weekend.
Yeah. I remember I got so mad at y'all though because we went to Universal Studios in Orlando. Remember that, Jennifer?
Yeah.
So we went 2 years ago anyway.
It's been like...
Okay, 2 years
It's
ago.
been a while, baby.
And while we're at Universal Studios, they had a ET ride, which is incredibly outdated.
Oh my God. It was so bad.
And what...
I almost killed Jason.
Yes. But when we went on the ride, they had the exact same ride at Universal Studios LA, and we went there. And I remember, I still don't know why this got me so butthurt, but we did it twice. And in the ride, you're on what are supposed to be bicycles, and it's 4 bicycles in a row. And on the first ride, I was on the left-hand side.
Like far left?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the next ride is like, oh, I want to be on the right where Kyle was. And y'all did not believe me that I was on the left. And so you're like, oh, just sit here and shut up. You didn't say that, but you were just like, whatever, stop making a fuss. And I got so butthurt. Kyle wouldn't switch with me, and y'all didn't believe me. So mad.
But at the time, you were holding on to your
I'm
conviction.
sorry.
I was thinking back next to that. I was like, if Kalia had done that, I would have slapped her.
Well, you would have told her to shut up and just sit down. Let's go.
I was like, we're not going on the ride then. If you're
It's
just
so funny, the things that we got mad about when we were kids, and you look
Oh,
back
my
at it
God.
and you're like, why the fuck were you mad about that?
Oh, yeah. I think back to the stuff I did. You know, someone once told me that be careful what you do to your parents because your children will do it to you. And most of what has happened to me that I did to my parents has been revisited upon me by the children in my life, either through Matt and John, Wesley, or Kalia, or Justin. So
I was a good kid. I don't know. I asked my mom, I'm like, did you put the curse on me? Like, what you did to me is going to happen to you? Because I was good. And she's like, no, I didn't do that. You were a bad baby.
Well, Jason was good too. That was.
I was. No, I'm not saying I wasn't, but I had my moments where I was disrespectful and rude. And so, like, I've had that, and I've stolen. And so, like, that's been visited upon me as an adult with children.
Yeah.
So,
Especially
But
mine.
That's certainly something you can brush off. As a mom and a dad.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Crazy.
Any other thoughts on early child or early teen years, Mom?
Well,
Any words of wisdom for our listeners? Okay, good.
I don't know.
Because I'm running low on battery power, so
Did you not charge it?
I did, but I put it on battery saver. Let me see if I can turn down the thing. All right, so let's
Probably
transition
didn't really
here.
do it. Is it time?
All right. So we've done we've talked.
Snack.
Mom, what do we have for snack today?
She don't know. She was just eating it.
Some sort of potato.
Stuffed cheddar bacon potato bites.
Okay. It was good.
It's a mouthful to say. I'm like, she's not going to remember that. I didn't remember it. I had to look it up. They were good, though, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
I liked it. From
Better
Publix,
than the
right?
last time I was here, you had chips.
Was it chips?
And I was complaining because how am I supposed to eat a chip with talk? With the
Mama
microphone
did chips
in my...
and dip for Mama.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you. Yeah, we had brunch with Zane's dad this morning, and we stopped by Publix because I want to get some plush puppies because I told Jennifer I would get some, but because I thought Publix had them, but they didn't. So I was like, it looks good. So.
Yeah. They were good. I liked them.
All right, so we've had our snack time. Mom, do you have a story about anything we did?
Or you did, or any of your siblings did, or any of your friends did, or...
Did you throw one of your sisters onto an axe? Or,
I was a good kid.
She was the one that got thrown.
Anything you can remember?
Not really.
No?
Okay.
You got a story you can tell Mama about what you did that you shouldn't have, or that you've never told her before?
I have one that she's heard before, but I thought it was funny. So, Mom and Dad, for our listeners, Mom and Dad had a lake house, and when I was in college, I went there with my friends, and they were generous, and we were drinking underage, and I thought it'd be fun to. We had it was a 2-story house with a balcony overlooking the living room, and I was drinking with my friends and thought it'd be fun to jump off or kind of drop off the balcony onto the couch. And I missed the couch, and I landed on the concrete, and my foot broke. And I told my mom and my Aunt Nelda that I fell down the steps at the pier.
Now, is it the same foot with the scar from the bookcase, or was it the other one?
I don't remember which one it was. Yeah.
These are the things I'm finding out now.
I told you that story before.
Well, after I moved to Alabama.
Yeah. After you. I love you, Mom. 20 years later, I love you. I know I was a rotten kid. I'm sorry. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for all our 12 listeners to listening to another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting. If you have any funny stories about your kids,
or if you need some bad parenting advice or have any ideas for topics,
please email us at guidetopoorparenting@gmail.com.
If you like our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening on.
And if you don't like our podcast, just like when our kids ask why we don't trust them, even though every other word out of their mouth is a lie.
Tough shit.
Bless.
That's why. Don't lie.
Thanks for coming, Mom.
Thank you, Mama Ruth. Bye, guys.
Bye.